show you some common mistakes of advanced players, and it all begins with how you start the game. And what you're seeing on this table, at first glance, all the balls are spread out, so this looks like a simple run out to any good player. The problem is they're underestimating the amount of mental focus that great pool takes. Because they can run racks, they just see this as something simple, and their brain pretty much goes to sleep. So they're taking the rack for granted, and this is what often gets them into big trouble. So I should have got on the left-hand side of that 5 ball, and I'll show you why after this rack is over. The only thing I could do is draw it back a little bit because I was just a hair on the left-hand side, and I wanted to widen the angle on the 6. But you see, that makes it dangerous to get down on the 7, and I wound up on the right side of the 7, which, it's not really any big deal. All I have to do is go to the right-hand side rail and stay up for the right angle on the 8 to get to the 9, but this could have been a big disaster. So the mistake is just taking balls for granted, taking a rack for granted. We can't see how much mental capacity is being used when we watch a pro player, but believe me, their brain is all there, and they're not taking anything for granted. And because the pros make it look so easy, we automatically assume, this is going to be easy. So our brains just kind of go to sleep, and we rely on our physical capacity. Let's break away and take a look at the graphics, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. When we shoot the 1, we bounce off the right-hand side rail and get to right about here, and now we don't have enough of an angle to shoot this 2 and get right on the 3. But, this is what I meant to do. I just wasn't thinking it through enough. My brain wasn't enough into this game. So let's just focus in on the first 5 balls, and you'll see we bounce off the rail a little bit, and then we shoot the 2, and we're pretty much forced to shoot the 3 into this pocket, the top left-hand corner pocket, which is taking a chance of hitting that 9 ball. You're just barely getting by the 9 ball there. So now I draw back a little bit on the 3 to shoot the 4 ball in the same corner pocket that I shot the 3. I'm using the left-hand side rail to bounce off of and get right on the 5, and I wind up getting pretty much straight in on the 5, which limits what I can do on the 5 ball to get right on the 6 ball. And here's what I should have done. I should have bounced harder off and drew it back a little bit when I shot the 1 ball to have a bigger angle on the 2 to bounce up and shoot the 3 in this corner pocket. And then it's just a matter of rolling up a couple inches and getting straight in and shooting a stop shot on the 4. And now I'm on the left-hand side of the 5 ball line. And if we go to the second half of the game, now I can get down table and get right on that 6 in order to play into the line. It's not exactly into it, but you're creeping into it at an angle. So it increases your margin of error and reduces the risk of playing against that 7 ball line and getting either too short or too long on the 7. And that's exactly what happens. In an effort to get straight in on the 7, I go a little bit long, and you'd have to be the god of pools to shoot the 6 and get straight in on the 7. The plan was to shoot the 7 and stay up on the right angle on the 8 to make it easy to get on the 9. That plan would have been successful if I had played into the 7 ball line. So what might have looked perfect to you when we first watched the game was not perfect at all. There was a lot that could have went wrong in that game because my mind wasn't far enough into the game. At this point, I'm reminding myself to keep my mind in it and to stay at a high focus level. And everything pretty much goes good, except for when I shoot the 4 ball and get on the 5, and I'll show you what happens. You wanted to draw back on that 2 ball in order to get right on the 3, because we have to draw. This is a little bit of a difficult shot. That's shot with bottom left to get right on 4. And I get right on the 4. It's just that I underestimate being how straight in I am, which is going to take all the momentum off the cue ball. And I get a little bit rough. I should be further down table with that cue ball on the 5, because I'm at this weird angle where the cue ball is going right into the 6, and that could have been a big disaster. So we're just stunning out the center table to shoot the 7, and the 8 can be made pretty much anywhere on the table. So this is just a matter of pulling back the center table again. A lot of shots that you shoot in 9-ball, you just want to get center table. The problem I make on this 8-ball is I shoot it too full. And once again, so it's pretty much the same problem I had with the 4-ball. It's going to take all the momentum of that cue ball if you shoot it too full. I could have shot that a lot thinner, still made it, and been way further up table to shoot the 9. Not that this is a hard shot, but it just could be a whole lot easier. And the name of 9-ball is to keep it simple. In fact, it's the name of most pool games, is keep things simple. As simple as possible. The simpler it is, the more you're going to win. But again, people underestimate the amount of mental concentration that this game takes. So let's go back and look at the 4 to the 5, and this is a full hit, and I shot it too soft, and I didn't get far enough down table than I should be, and I got to right about here, which kind of leaves me a weird angle on the 5. I probably could have put some right hand English on this, but I didn't want to deflect it, and I just shot it naturally, and the cue ball off that bottom rail is going straight into the 6-ball. We were lucky to hit it on the right hand side of the 6, so it didn't do much damage, but it could have done a lot of damage. This is where we should be on the 5. We should have came further back down table, and then we can easily get above that 6-ball without worrying about any disasters happening. On the 8-ball, I just shot it too full, and it killed all momentum of the cue ball, and I wind up down table. When I should be up table, you should shoot it thinner and keep the momentum of that cue ball, because look at your margin of error to get on the 9-ball, and not just to get on it, but pretty much straight in on it. And there's no risk of scratching if you do that, so you're good to go, and let your stroke out on this. Just don't hit it too hard and you'll be okay. Philly Todd requested what's in the case. So this is going to be my version of that. He's not the first person to request this. Over the years there's been 3 or 4 other people that asked me to do this. And one of the problems with doing this is I don't endorse any of these companies. So I avoided it because I didn't want to confuse anybody. And this changes a lot. I do change cues. I knock around with different cues. For most of my life I've been a McDermott man, and I started collecting the D series. And I have 2 of the D series cues from McDermott in storage. I forget exactly which ones they are. Over the years I've had pretty much every D series cue from the 1980s that McDermott ever made. And I'll bring them out occasionally if I have a big match or a big tournament. But for the most part, they stay in storage. I also have a, what the hell's the name of it? I forget. There's a Hubler in there. There's a Helmstetter in there in storage with the McDermott's. And a Jerry Olivier, I believe that's how you pronounce it, in storage. So what's that, 5 Qs, maybe 6 Qs in storage? I don't know, I can't keep up with them. Right now I'm playing with this, the actual case itself is purchased from Carl's Q's. It's a butterfly case 4x8x1. And the one is this pouch right here that you can put, one of the smaller jump cues in. These wristbands are collection. I never bought one of these. These used to be covering another tube case that I used to have. These are all wristbands that people give me. And there's a story behind each one. And they're cheap, and obviously it's an accumulation, and people see them on there and ask what it's all about, and I could probably spend a 24-hour video just talking about these wristbands. A lot of the friends that bought these wristbands are no longer with us, and that's, I'm not going to waste this whole video with stories of the wristbands. I'll get into it one day, it's kind of fascinating. But every time somebody gives me one, I have one on my wrist now. I'll wear it for, a week or two, or maybe a month, and then I'll stick it on there, and, it's kind of their way of me taking them with me wherever I go. So they get a kick out of it. Anyway, let's open this puppy up. Yeah, these wristbands used to cover a tube case I used to have. I'll show you a picture of it right here. Let's get into this. Should we go through the pouches first or go through the case? Let's go through the pouch. I don't even know what's in here. I can't keep up with it. Yeah, I know there's a lot of chalk in here. Here's a bridge that Mark Hilliard bought me for no particular reason. He heard me talking about needing one of these, and he sent it over. Tip shaper. I use a dime shape if anybody is interested. There's little things. People give me a lot of stuff, and they're like good luck charms that I take with me. Here's a great white chalk from Chris Renfrew. Chris Renfrew. Master Chalk, Tweeden products I use a lot. Master Chalk is made by Tweeden, and they also make triangle tips and Elfmaster tips. And I'm loyal to this company. Because a lot of times you go out in pool halls and they might have Master Chalk, but it's got a hole drilled into it, and I will not. And this is how you tell a pool hustler who's laying low and doesn't want you to know he's a hustler. Look at his chalk, and if it's got a deep hole drilled into it, you know what I mean, to where you can't chalk your tip right. From guys grinding like this into the chalk. Even a great pool hustler who's just laying off and dumping off and trying to get action will not use a bad chalk like that. They simply won't do it. So there's one of them. Another scuffer. This one's a dime and a nickel shape. Because sometimes my friends want to borrow them, and I don't know, it's got both nickel and dime, so they can borrow. Another good luck charm. This one was given to me by Janet, a good friend of mine, all-time drinking buddy. Here's another bracelet. This one, the switch broke, but it changed. You see, they're just little. It's just basically junk. Q shaft cleaner. Bumper for the end of my Q. Allen wrench, change the weight real quick. Face mask. Another Allen wrench to change the weight on my other cube. Spots for the racking spot. In case the racking spot is missing, I can stick one on there. Sandpaper. What is this? Instructions for something. I don't know, stuff gets in there, you know. Another good luck charm given to me by my niece. Sandpaper. More good luck charms. A bumper for the end of, that's for the end of my sneaky peek. Earplugs. Donnie Long gave me these. I just wanted to see what it was like to play with the earplugs in, and so he picked them up and brought them over. I think that's it for this pouch. Look at all that junk. You see? This is what I use to make notes with, or if somebody gives me their phone number. Always carry a pen and paper. Breath mint gum in case. IHOP gift card. That's for those late night 4 a.m. mornings. I used to have a Waffle House one too. I used that one all out. More good luck stuff. I think this is a keychain. I'm really not sure. That's about it for the pouches. Now I gotta put all this stuff back. Oh, another scuffer. Or chip shaker, actually. This also had a dime and a nickel. This is in here backwards. This is J&J Jump Cube, and it's also a brake cube, but I rarely jump. I'll kick before I jump, but sometimes you'll be playing a really good player, and he'll take the kick away from you too, because he knows what he's doing. And rarely, occasionally, I'll use it, and I am good with it, but I don't. There's an old school player inside of me. It's like a, I don't call it what it is. Purex. This is what I've been playing with mostly. It's got a wrap that I put on there because this wrap is, if you take a close look, you see the wrap. The whole thing's like that. The bottom of it's even worse. And just because I played so much with it that it wore it out. And so I put this wrap is made by Cyclone, not to be confused with Cyclop. Cyclone. I use Cyclop. They make balls, and well, I probably shot with their balls somewhere along the line, but the rack that I use is made by Cyclop, and it was distributed by people that work for Diamond Billiards. So it came to me, and they gave it to players and wanted their feedback on it, but they never did market it. They never did produce it. They were just kind of working on it, but they, so they gave one to me and said, "John, tell me what you think of this." So I used it and told them what I think about it, and which I loved it. I gave it an A+ rating. And I met the woman from somewhere in Asia who actually designed and made it. It's a great rack, but they never did anything with it. I think they went back to focusing on billiard balls. Y'all notice as I break with this, this also has an Elkmaster tip on it that's hardened. Q-tip breaks to. It's a player's stick. It's made to shoot pool with, but I use it to break with because it's 21 ounces. Not that a good break is not about how heavy the cue is. Actually, you want it lighter so you can move it faster. It's about the speed that you can get that cue moving. So that was all just big scam when all those 25-ounce break sticks came out. Bunch of freaking nonsense. It takes a whole lot more to get a 25-ounce cue moving fast than a 17-ounce cue. It's not about power, it's about speed. We'll get more into that. This is just an old sneaky peek that I use out in the bars. Is that it? I think that's it, guys. 4x8x1 case. I love this case. I think we went through everything, and I'm sorry it wasn't more exciting. Maybe I should talk more about these wristbands. That's where all the fun is. Anyway,